Good morning. How are we all doing? Morning, Danny. Morning, Neo. Morning, Jacob. Morning, Monkey. Morning, Virginia. Big Les. Morning, Stefan. Morning, David. Almost midnight. Blimey. Where are you then, Big Les? Almost midnight. I must be Australia, obviously, somewhere, I guess. Morning, Diamond. Kennelly. Tharell. John. How are we doing? Right. Busy morning this morning. Got lots of PMI figures out today. So the open for the Frankfurt exchange is going to be hit and miss. Not sure what's going to happen today. So we'll need to keep our wits about us a little bit this morning. So we'll have a look at the results from yesterday, as usual. Morning, Henry. In California. All right, yeah. Okay. I was going to say Australia. It would be like 8 p.m., wouldn't it? Right. So yesterday, not a bad day yesterday. So the H1 hedging set file did 0.31% yesterday. Nothing particularly exciting. Banked 0.3 today, done some drawdown control plus banked some stuff. So sitting in 8.83% drawdown. Same as yesterday, Euro, US dollar, Swiss yen are the only two that are getting close, and maybe US dollar yen. Didn't move anything much yesterday, the US dollar. We'll have a look at the news on that in a minute with the debt crisis thing, but it's not looking good. 2.42% drawdown on H4M5. That banked 0.12 negative drawdown control yesterday and 0.19 today. So not managed to bank anything yet. There's nothing in drawdown much. US dollar yen's the only thing that's got 4 positions on, 1 in profit, 1%. So just nothing moving, is there? So hopefully today. 1.21 on H1M5 yesterday. Nothing banked today. Sitting in 0.22. Nothing on. And ADR reversals. 0.44 drawdown, banked 1% yesterday, nothing drawn today. So 2.5%-ish, something like that yesterday across all strategies. Not too bad. News-wise, we've got all the PMIs today. So today's the first day we should see some hopefully movement. 8.15 is the Euro, is the French rather, followed by the German at 8.30, and then the combined zone at 9. So this is the one typically the market often will react to the most. It's the biggest economy. The Euro one doesn't tend to do an awful lot because it's made up, the majority of it, of French and German. Therefore, whatever comes here, we know already because it's a combination of those two. So by 8.30, we should have all the Eurozone stuff done and then the movement. So the DAX this morning, we could stagnate for the first 15 minutes. So it'd be a tricky open. The pre-market 5 may or may not go. Don't know. But the 15-minute opening range today is probably the best thing to trade. So I'm just going to watch that this morning and see what happens. I'm going to trade it on the Surge Trader account because that's only a game, so we'll just let that play. But we'll see what happens. Then we've got 9:30. We've got the pound PMI, so we'll get some movement off the pound. We've got the monetary policy report hearings then at 10:15, which doesn't tend to do a lot. And then 2:45, 15 minutes after the New York Open, we've got the PMI for the US. And again, same thing. Market opens at 2:30, 2:45 we get the news. So we're quite possibly going to have a pretty stagnant first 15 minutes while they wait for the PMIs and then dump the orders. So we'll see what happens. You can never tell, but that's kind of what to possibly anticipate today. Overnight, tomorrow, in case you're not here for this afternoon's session, we've got the New Zealand rates and the New Zealand press conference. So forecast to go up 0.25% to 5.5. No reason why we shouldn't get that, I don't think. Press conference obviously is where the market movement will happen at 4 a.m. This is when we get the information about what their forward guidance is going to be. So that's tomorrow morning. Overnight news, we've had more on the debt crisis. So there's been a lot of chatter, as you can see. There's Fed talking heads literally constantly on the feed at the moment. This was the main thing yesterday. House Representative Speaker McCarthy, we don't have a deal. They don't have any deal on this debt crisis thing. So this was 6 o'clock yesterday. If we have a quick look at, sorry, just get rid of that minute. We have a quick look at the S&P yesterday. You see, we got a load of whipsawing at the open, and then we had this little dump at the end. So this is somewhere around here is where we had that news coming out. So we had a bit of volatility yesterday. So there's one of the mentions in here. Yellen, it's now highly likely cash will run out early June. By early June. So this is in the next, I mean, it's the 23rd of May today. So by early June, the next 2 weeks, highly likely they're going to default. So thanks for the follow, whoever that was. David, welcome aboard. I have no idea what's going to happen when the US defaults. It's never done it. So very tricky to know what to do with the US dollar at the moment. If you're at all worried about it, just don't trade the US dollar. But I think what you'll find is, regardless of what happens, if the US dollar has a massive move, it says here, Speaker McCarthy on whether Americans should prepare for a default. No. It's highly likely we're going to default by early June. Should we wait for a default? No. Completely contradictory, isn't it? But we don't know what's going to happen. So whatever happens to the US dollar, everything else is going to move, because when they pull money out of the US dollar or pump it into the US dollar, highly unlikely they're going to pump it in, more likely pull it out, it's got to go somewhere. So it's either going to go into the stock market, more likely, or into other FX pairs, Swiss, yen. So we'll see what happens. But at any time over the next couple of weeks, something could go catastrophically wrong with the US dollar. So just be aware. And don't want to see any mentions in Telegram group of why did the US dollar suddenly do 400 ADR? You should know. DAX. Right, let's watch the DAX. Actually, let's watch the DAX on the Surge Trader account. Actually, let's quickly look at where the DAX is potentially going today. First, we've got 50 seconds to the open. We got a tiny gap fill to the upside, potentially. DAX yesterday came down and settled for the afternoon. We are down at previous lows. So we are sitting down here quite comfortably at yesterday's low right now. We are millimeters away. We're actually on top of yesterday's low now, which is there. So if we crack that, we're looking for an ADR run down to that low, and then failing that, it's these weekly levels, which is 150 ADR. So there's our targets to the downside. Upside target is obviously yesterday's high and previous day's high, which is that high there, and weekly high, which is ADR today to the upside. So let's see where we go. Morning, Steve. Right, there we go. So there's your 5-minute opening range in. Not looking like it's going anywhere at the moment. These spreads are so bad on Surge Trader. On 8 crap. Terrible spreads. So wide. Okay, I'm in, should be in short. I'm not in short. That didn't even get me in short. Oh my God, look at where that filled me. Right, so this is what I was talking about when I talk about this Surge Trader execution delay, right? You saw that, right? The price was down here. I said, oh, it didn't even trigger my order. About a second or two after I said that, all of a sudden it fills my order up there. Now, happy with it, positive slippage, good one, happy with that. But this is how long it took to activate that order. If this had gone flying and I'd have been activated down here, I'd have been very unhappy about that. This is why we don't use any prop firms that use 8 cap. If you're looking to position trade, fine. But if you're looking to scalp in any way, shape or form, the execution is just awful. And so is the spread. So can't trade it. So I am short on the DAX on the pre-market 5 opening range. I finished my testing yesterday, by the way, which I'll go through in a minute on the new version of the opening range pre-market strategy I was testing. I finished all the testing on it. It looks pretty good. Very scalpy. It's going to blow some accounts, but it's going to make some money as well. So I'll go through the results of that in a bit. Wait for the open to finish. Start. This is what I mean. I think there's a good possibility of a double-ended stop out today. I think we're going to find that nothing's going to move until 8:15. See what happens. Catch up on the chat. Morning, John. Morning, Baggy. Morning, It's Time. Morning, AGB. Morning, Orlani. Morning from South Africa, Potgaiter. Morning, Andres Dreska. How we doing? So results. The surge trader competition that I'm in at the moment. I banked 4.6% on it yesterday. A lot of people fell by the wayside yesterday. Most of them are these people that were sitting at the top on ridiculous profits. Some of these are sitting on ridiculous profits, but they'd all been trading too many contracts, so they all disappeared. Now, this guy that's sitting in number one at the moment on 37.7, he is also one of those. You can see that he took like loads and loads of orders. There's a 10 lot maximum. You can't have more than 10 lots open at all. He took one at 156, 156, 156, 156, 156, 156. Yeah, so he just basically kept hitting the buy button with 9 contracts. And then they all closed out this morning at 3:15 a.m., banking him a whopping great 37.7%. However, he's broken the max contract rule. So the fact that he's still there, I can only assume that they are just executing this rule overnight. So tomorrow he'll be gone, with everybody else that was up the top yesterday that had maximum contracts and is also gone. So Victoria is sitting in number one spot at the moment, taking 1 lots on the DAX. Took 2 9s yesterday. You see, she's still in, or I'm assuming it's a she, Victoria, is still in the competition. That's a break. That's a rule break. Am I missing the rule? Am I getting this rule wrong? It does say very, very clearly in here that you cannot trade more than 10 lots, right? At no time may you have more than 10 lots of any product open. 10 lots of any product in total. If I have 5 on the pound US, 5 on the DAX, and 5 on the NAS, that's 15 lots on any product open. If I have 10 lots open twice on one product, that's 20 lots open, right? If you do so, it will be grounds for immediate disqualification. Am I missing something here? Opened 9 lots at 13.54, closed at 14.11. That's 18 lots. It's a rule break. Why is this person still sitting in number 2? Don't know. Bizarre. But anyway, I'm sitting back down in 100 and something because I'm trading properly by the rules. 102nd, look, 5.34%. Right, DAX is out nicely to the low side. Now on $1,400 profit. Thank you very much. TP1 is at 1.5 hour. So I'll let that run, see if we get 1.5 hour. And then I might bracket the 5-minute candle before the 15-minute open and see if we can scalp a big move out of that as well. But I've only got 10 contracts on, look. Very, very slow open today. Thinking I maybe should have taken that $1,400. Anyway, we'll see. Right, well, let's just wait for that to play out. So there's your 5-minute opening range on the DAX. So the first 5-minute candle closed to the downside. We push down, pushing back up again. So we'll See what happens there. What prop firm was that? Surge Trader. This is. They're just running a competition. I don't trade with them because they're crap, basically. Because they use 8cap as a broker, and you can't really trade with it. And obviously there's way better firms out there, but they're running a free competition basically, which is just basically, it's free. They give you $100,000 account and give you 5 days and come back with the most money, you win. So I just thought I'd play it for a laugh, just to see basically what their brokerage is like now, what 8cap is like, because it was ages ago I traded with 8cap, so I thought I'll give it another go and see if they've got better. They haven't. Right. I'll leave that 2021 line in place there. So let's have a quick look at FX. This is going to stop me out on this anyway. Very, 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 very light liquidity. Look at this. It's not even moving. Absolutely low volume in the market. 8:15 is when we're going to get the volume coming through. I'm toying with the idea of actually taking off these longs, because I suppose I might as well leave those in place just in case it flies to the upside. The PMI figures. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt, shall we? Do you still live trade with your own money? Yeah. No, I don't use prop. I use my own money for position trading. For prop, I use for scalping. I use prop, and to a certain extent, position trading, but not as much. It's I run a kind of hybrid strategy with support and resistance on prop, with stops, but very, very small targets. I'm looking for like 1.25%. Sorry, 1.25R returns and things, so it's not very big. I'm just waiting to get spread out on this because the news is coming. I've got a feeling they're going to widen the spread before the news and take this out. I just don't want to get gathered into a long if they're going to widen the spread. I'll just move these up ever so slightly just in case. More likes, please. 82 people watching. Thumbs up, people. Although not yet extended on the hourly, I decided to get into Aussie Swiss. We'll have a look at the FX in a sec. Just waiting for this candle to close. Got 17 seconds. So we are closing bearish. So we've double topped on the first 5 minutes and a lower high. Lower low rather. So potential. Oh no, sorry. Did you see that just spike up then? Is that me, or where'd that wick come from? That was a double top a minute ago. Terrible. Oh no, it did spike up higher. It's me. It's all right. Right. So we got an outside bar on the 5 minute opening range. So you would have got a 5 minute opening range. You would have triggered short, stopped out, flipped long. Now you're sitting in drawdown. So I mean, this is very typical of a news event that comes out after the open. We don't get that initial cash balance because they're waiting to see which way they want to execute it or what price they can get for it, basically. So we'll give it a few minutes. Let's quickly look at the ADRs. So ADRs, nice and easy this morning. There aren't any. So we got no ADRs. We had a few ADRs yesterday. Most of the ADRs yesterday all played out, which is why we banked well yesterday with that strategy. So nothing to look at today. Possibly going to get some ADRs. So watch the euro pairs today. Watch the pound pairs today. We're likely to get some ADR hits on those two because we've got the PMI figures and then obviously US dollar this afternoon. Nothing's hit the weeklies. It is only Tuesday. Monthlies we've looked at a few times, Euro CAD and Euro New Zealand. So those are your two monthly extensions at the moment. Euro CAD is starting to play out. So that's your high. That's your monthly range extension. And the reversal started on Friday last week. We didn't go anywhere yesterday at all. Euro New Zealand, same thing. Was the Euro New Zealand, wasn't it? Euro New Zealand. So again, from the highs, which is there. That's your hit. Was that a hit? What was that the hit? One of these is a hit. I don't think we hit there. What was it? 678. Yeah, 620. So that is exactly, pretty much exactly 100% of the monthly range, that from that peak to that peak. So we're double bottoming. We've had a reversal alert on the hourly on Euro New Zealand. So looking good. So if we can get some positive moves off of this PMI today, should get a decent rally. So we'll see what happens. Stopped outs on the shorts. I'm just going to place some manual trades. I'm not sure I should do this, you know. I've got a feeling if I get triggered on the news on this, I'm going to get slipped to death on this. I don't think the market execution is going to be fast enough. I think I'm just going to get slipped ridiculously. See, where's the stop going to go on those? 161. Oh. All right, one sec. I should really be using the Price Action Toolkit. Oh my God. Sorry. I can't operate a computer today for some reason. 161.94. I can't type. It's the pressure. All right, yeah, good. So just going below this candle, basically, see if we can get triggered into some shorts. If it goes short, obviously, if it goes long, we'll just get triggered into the longs. We'll TP. I'm just going to move the TP on that, actually. Go up there. 35 seconds. So this is the Euro, the French PMIs. RSIs we'll look at in a second. Let's watch the DAX. Easier to watch on there, and we'll watch Euro US dollar. Euro's coming down pre-market. 1 second. There we go. We're off. Euro's coming down. DAX is coming down. 52.8 off of a forecast of 54. Don't forget the German one is the main one. That's the larger economy. So we may not get a movement off of this. So it's triggered me into 4 positions. There we go. Just broken the rules. I'm out. Oh, well, that's the end of that competition then. Well, assuming they are using the rule, because I'm now 20 contracts short. Get rid of that. Right. There we go. That was a waste of time, wasn't it? Okay, so DAX is short. So if you're trading the opening range 5-minute, you are triggered short now. Well, you were triggered short there on the 5. So we'll see if that drops from there. Right, let's look at RSIs while we're waiting for the German news. So Swiss yen. At the moment, basically, this got extended the day before. So where are we? So on Monday, this got extended. I think it was just Monday, was it? One sec. No, sorry, it was last week, wasn't it? So we got the extension last week on this one, on the 4 hour. We just went sideways. We had a little bit of a push up yesterday, so we got extended a little bit further up into the 75 area on the 4 hour. So it is starting to roll over now. We looked at this one yesterday. This has been really, really orderly on this climb up here. So it's difficult to tell whether or not we are going to just accumulate and then break to the upside and continue this movement. We should see this euro continuing to push, which will take the Swiss franc with it. The yen obviously has got nothing at the moment. It's got no legs whatsoever. So at the minute, it's starting to roll over. You're just about to get a reverse alert on the 4 hour. The hourly has already given the reverse alert this morning. So we have had a good sign of strength starting to come down. Obviously, we've just had negative figures. So the PMIs basically were 52.8 on a forecast of 54 for the services. And we got an as expected on manufacturing. So that is net short. If the German comes out as net short as well, Euro's coming down, that will drag the Swiss franc down with it. So the entry on the Swiss yen, obviously, we should be looking at an ADR hit to the downside. Monthly high here is potentially where you might find some resistance. Actually, that's not a very good monthly high, is it? Just so happens that it was after a 300% ADR day. That's why we got that high. So it's not a particularly good area. That's a better area. We've already slammed through that. So we've got last week's high as potential support, and then this propulsion gap. So this accumulation break here, that's where I would look to target 150 to 175 ADR to the downside today if we get negative news on the euro. So somewhere around there potentially would be kind of what I would expect as the extreme on it. It's got to be pretty bad as well. So it's got to be a pretty big miss from Germany. If the pound comes out as negative as well, that will also help because the euro tends to move with the pound as well. So if we get negative figures as well, being the main trade partners with Europe, that will drag the euro down further. So that might be a good entry today. Your entry was already triggered yesterday on it in here, although we've put in a new high today. So the entry was yesterday, was there on 15 minute. That was your entry yesterday. 5 minute would have been somewhere around the same area. You've had an entry today there as well, exactly the same area, because all we've done is we've popped up and rejected the same level. So entry were there on the Swiss yen. New Zealand dollar yen. So that's dropping nicely as well. So that's a 4 hour RSI extension. Had a short on that, which I got out of on Friday. It was yesterday. Sorry. Yeah, yesterday morning. Exited that one. Those three. You've just had a reversal on the hourly this morning. M15, obviously similar sort of area, and the 4 hour is the RSI extension. But again, the same as the others on the yen. All the yens got extended last week along with the hourlies, and obviously it's just been kind of grinding. So it's all these yens are just being ground against. Nothing's got a massive amount of strength at the moment, and because the yen's weak, nothing's making a massive amount of headway. Everything's just sort of ambling along. Any kind of strength in the yen or weakness in the currency, for example, New Zealand dollar, if they come out at 5.25 tomorrow morning, that thing's down there somewhere. Yeah, that's a good looking opportunity for a short. You've had your entry on it already this morning, and it's started to play out very nicely. And the US dollar yen is the only other 4 hour RSI extension. So that one's extended to the upside. A little bit more strength on the US dollar against the yen. Nice M pattern. There was an entry on the hourly, as you can see there, which got out of last week. So nice looking M pattern. Lovely wicks on this. Look, rejection. Beautiful rejection showing at the moment. So that's last week's high. Nice rejection wicks over the last 8 hours. And it's looking bearish at the moment. So a 4 hour reversal on the cards there. The hourly you've already had, which was this morning. This is the retest candle. We've got 38 minutes. So if this closes below that area, you're going to get your retest arrow and your M pattern potentially there. So looking good for shorts on the US dollar yen as well. M15, you've had your reverse alert in the same spot. M5 was a little bit earlier this morning. Nice M pattern reversal at last week's high. There you go. So that is your RSIs. Nothing else out there. It's really dead at the minute. Really dead. Flat. So, you know, you can see obviously all the ADRs played out yesterday. We banked 1% yesterday because and the day before, because literally all the ADRs that we've had have all played out. All the extensions we've had have all just banked. Same with H1. It's just banked everything. We're just waiting for opportunities, really. DAX isn't going anywhere. Is that contest still going on where a person can sign up? No. It started yesterday. CAD Yen. Right, so yeah, any pairs you want to have a look at, let me know. And we will have a scan through. Just see what's going on here. Yeah, stopped out. So I'm down to 98.5 now. Seeing if we've blown it, let's just go along with 10 contracts, shall we? Stop below the low. And let's see if we can go for ADR. That'll bank me 11 grand. Blown it anyway. Right, CAD Yen. So double top, basically, off of last week's high. We had a nice reversal on Friday last week, and we've rejected that high. Again, this is all little bit of yen strength creeping through this morning. Whether or not we're going to get a continuation on it, don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I've got 7 minutes until the German news. So downside potential on this. There are really nice propulsion targets that are unfilled. That one's done. We've got this big one here and this one here, which is untouched, although this isn't really an accumulation. This is kind of some weird cup and handle formation. That's the best one, that accumulation break. We retested it and drove out. So that's where I'd expect us to come back down to, somewhere around 175. If we're going to continue this uptrend, that's where I'll be targeting. Euro US dollar. Exit on that one was Friday. So that was your entry on Friday. RSI extension to the downside, 5-minute reversal out next day. Very nice, quick, easy one. Same as that one. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, and out. Very, very easy. Lots of upside targets on this. This Euro US dollar has got the potential to go a long way. So if you look at this bias scorecard at the moment on the Euro US dollar, it is a negative. It's a -5. But look at the COT bias on it, 0. So the market now is totally neutral on the euro and US dollar. If we have a look at the sentiment for COT, you've now got euro 78.22 and you've got US dollar 65.35. So at the moment, the market, this is the longest thing out there. The market is fully long euro. Reason being is we've got good interest rate rises happening. Lagarde has been talking up interest rate rises. There's been no mentions or comments about not putting interest rates up. Fully bullish. Euro is a long over the next month to quarter. So 78% of the market is positioned long on euro. US dollar, they are still long on it at the moment. Not quite as long, but it is the second strongest currency out there. So you've got a long against a long, which gives you no bias whatsoever. However, we are hitting terminal rate possibly on the US dollar. So what it means for the euro US dollar is when it's got over its stupid interest rate increase decline, where they factored in too much, they factored in 4% instead of 3.75 and then had to get out of it. As soon as that pullback is complete, there's no reason why this shouldn't continue on its merry path. So we'll be looking for a continuation long. We are down here at the moment, just below the 72, where we bounced from last time to make that new high. So that's what I'm expecting. But the contraction is happening. So look at the distance of movement there, and then compare the distance of movement there. So much more contracted pullback this is. So I would expect the move to the upside to be fairly strong. Obviously, we've got the debt crisis hanging over us with the US at the moment. If that does default, I don't see any reason why they won't start to pull out of the US dollar, in which case, obviously, Euro US dollar is going to pump and everything will pump. I don't know what the reaction is going to be. We're never going to be able to tell really until it actually happens. So I would be looking for nothing but longs on the Euro US dollar, ideally, at the moment. There's no RSI extension on the 4 or the hourly. You've missed those. The entries were last week. So just waiting for a setup on it at the moment. Euro coming down very nicely this morning. I should imagine the DAX is pumping a little bit now. Yeah, pumping on the DAX. So your opening range breakout to the downside failed and you've just flipped long. So that 15-minute opening range, which is the one I said was the one to take today, is there. So you've just flipped long on that one. So obviously, as I expected, it was a whippy old open. Let's cheat. Let's see if we get caught. The other person hasn't been caught going long with twice as many contracts as they should have they? So why don't we have a go? See if we can get a sneaky one in. Right, so that's Euro US dollar. So this sell at the moment, this is it's a -5. -2 of that is made up by retail being longing it. Yeah, so retail at the moment are long Euro US dollar, meaning it's driving down because it's going for the liquidity to the downside. So when that comes back to a 0, this flicks back to a -3, which takes it range bound. And then if they flip long, it takes it to a -1. So the edge short for the Euro US dollar isn't really there. So I'd be looking for longs on that. What else do we get? Aussie dollar Swiss. Sideways now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Not going anywhere, Aussie dollar Swiss. So Swiss franc obviously is coming down at the moment. No, sorry, Swiss franc is strengthening up at the moment, bringing Aussie dollar Swiss down. Just nowhere at the minute. There's no entries. That was the last entry short there. Another entry short there. You had longs in here. Sideways. There's no real mean reversion opportunities at all on this one. It's a short overall. So I'll be looking for shorts more than longs on this. On all Aussie pairs, really, more short than long. Aussie dollar Swiss is a -4. Cop bias is -1. Retail at the moment are longing it. So it's a short. It's all a short. Aussie Swiss. So you've had a reverse alert on it this morning. Literally just had it on that news. German news comes out in 1 minute, 10 seconds even. 10 seconds. Let's watch Euro Swiss again. Euro US. And the DAX. 1 minute, 1 second. Done. There we go. German is 54.3 on a forecast of 53.4. Opposite way. So we've had negative France, positive German. Push pull. There we go. So totally the opposite. So we had, as expected, and negative for France. Services for Germany are positive and negative for manufacturing. So mixed bag. No directional bias at all there, really. Nothing to go on. So let's see what the market makes of it. It's had a little pullback on the DAX and a rally on the euro. Not really going anywhere, is it, at the moment? Bit flat. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss don't really have an entry on that at the minute. You could take a double bottom at ADR, so it'd be an ADR reversal today. You have got these propulsion gaps to the downside on this one as well. So if you look at where you are on Aussie dollar Swiss, yeah, it's 225 ADR down to complete the gaps to the downside, and it's 150 ADR to complete the gaps to the upside. That one's kind of tested twice. I'd be very surprised if that held up there again. So yeah, it's a tricky one. No real advantage anywhere on that one. US dollar yen, already covered that one. That's a 4-hour RSI extension. So M pattern going in now, divergence. So it's nice bearish divergence. Really nice wicks to the upside on this at the minute. So you got last week's high. We've rallied up into last week's high, rejected, rejected. We're rejecting again. Your 4-hour market reversal alert is about to go in. Hourly, you've already had one. This is the retest candle. So if this candle closes where it is now, you're going to get the retest arrow. So there's your M pattern. Reversal target to the downside is 200 ADR. We're going to need some yen strength though, or get, as I say, US dollar weakness. So this afternoon we've got the PMI figures for the US dollar. They come out as negative. We're off. I think what you're going to find is with any negative news you have on the US dollar over the next 2 weeks, I think the market's going to react quite aggressively towards it, because we are expecting this default to happen. Although then they come out and say, are you expecting a default? No. So they're saying on one hand, we're expecting a default by early June. Are you expecting a default? No. How can you possibly have one person saying completely the opposite within an hour of each other? This doesn't make sense, does it? So they really have got no idea what's going on, as usual with the Fed. So I think what the market is going to do is it's going to look for any reason to sell the US dollar. If we get negative figures coming out, I think we'll probably get some ADR hits to the downside today. So that US dollar yen, and in fact any US dollar, is obviously everything is news dependent. That's why the market moves. Everything moves on fundamentals. Everything moves on news. So if we do get a negative on that today, you've got a potential big drop all the way back down into here. That's still bullish, US, yeah. So high, higher low, higher high. You know, that's still a higher low, yeah, market structure-wise. If the yen is going to remain weak, it can come all the way down to here and still be massively bullish, the US dollar yen. So it's, you know, it's not inconceivable at all to get those propulsion gaps filled. So just wait for the news this afternoon. If you fancy it short, get in. If it goes up, position trade it back down again. GU. So that is at the moment bullish. So the pound US dollar, well, actually, no, it's not. That's a lie. Pound US dollar is bearish. However, we are really, really scaling out. COT is scaling out of the longs, basically. Sorry, of the shorts. So we are getting a little bit more bullish on this one. There's no advantage from from retail. So if retail suddenly starts shorting this, the market's going to rally. That's going to take this to a -3, which moves it into range-bound territory. So it's ever such a slight sell at the moment. However, with what's going on with the US dollar and what's going on with the pound, if we got positive PMIs come out this morning, that's going to rally the pound. If we get negative PMIs coming out on the US, this is going to go all the way back up to potentially 200 ADR today. There's every chance we could get a big, nice ADR move to the upside today. So you can see there's an entry there on H1M5. Very nice, quick in and out. We've had longs there. We've had shorts. Yeah, we've had longs. Doesn't matter which way you trade this at the moment. It's an absolute beauty. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. So whenever it gets extended, you just get in and you go the other way. And as soon as you get in and go the other way, they profit take it, you get out. Then you do the other thing. You just literally keep trading it on RSI extensions. You could probably trade this on 30, 70 and be even more effective. I'm just not going to do it because I'm not that aggressive. But longs, if it gets down here, shorts, if it gets up there. At the moment, there's no advantage in either direction. So it's sideways. Yeah. So nowhere to go at the moment. However, today, obviously, you need to wait for the news. So 9.30 is the pound, and then 2.45 is that. So if we get positive that, negative that, it's an ADR hit to the upside today. There you go. DAX is just pushed down and sitting back up there. Not going anywhere. Pound yen. So this is like a short like all the other yens at the moment. Already got one on this. So this was an H1M5 from back here. So that was my entry on Wednesday last week. Since Wednesday, we've just gone sideways, sideways, sideways. And guess what? So, yeah, I'm in short, waiting for it to drop. This is kind of, if you're trading manually or with EA, you know, this short entry here is gone, isn't it? Yeah. So what we're looking for is a push and a profit take. Yeah. What we've got is a 4-day accumulation. So anybody with half a brain, and I'm actually going to do this, would get out of that position because it's gone absolutely nowhere in 4 days. Yeah. The opportunity's gone. Trade's finished. Look, we're sitting at the 50, right? And we have not made any progress from where we entered. Get out. Done. No advantage either way on that one. Tammy, Pitfall Morning, EJ. I think we just covered EJ. That was a 4-hour RSI extension. Just. Did we cover EJ? No, we didn't. Why did we cover EJ? Maybe we haven't. So yeah, sure. Like all the other yens at the moment, but it's a 4-hour RSI extension. Nice wicks to the upside. So the entry on this one would have been yesterday. Somewhere in there. And all it's done is push down and come back up. So your entry is pretty much this candle when the chart updates. Here's price. Waiting for the chart to update. I don't know what the problem is with this terminal. This is a new installation of Robo Forex. For some reason, my charting on this platform is really slow. There's got to be something that's causing this, and I have no idea what it is. Anyway, so yeah, there was your reverse alert this morning on M5. I would be looking more for shorts than longs at the moment on Euro Yen. However, it could rally off the back of these figures. We are expecting it to go long, but we are also, you know, it's been a while since we've had a bit of yen strength coming through. So a couple of days worth of yen strength might be on the cards as well. But again, there's just no entries for me at the moment. The last entry was there and up there. So yeah, very difficult to call that one, isn't it? Could go anywhere. You're sitting up at last week's high. You've rejected last week's high. So some kind of pullback on this move is more likely. How deep it will go is difficult to tell. So I would just look at the hourly time frame, look for the propulsion targets. That accumulation break there is 125 ADR. So that would be probably a good downside target. Got all this lot down here. But if they don't do any kind of intervention on the yen and we get the positive moves we're expecting off of interest rate increases for the euro, there's a good chance these will just become orphaned and never actually get back to these at all. These are very old now. We're going back to the beginning of April. So these are nearly 2 months old, these propulsion gaps. So that would be the one that I would look at as my ultimate downside target. That would be interim downside target 125 ADR. Got targets to the upside as well. Again, no opportunity. Just if there's nothing extended, I'm not interested. I just want to say, when you go to the split screen view with two charts and are referring to the DAX chart on the right, the chart is actually the US 30. No, it's the DAX. It's the DE40. That's the US 30. I might have gone onto the wrong chart a minute ago or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But that's the DAX. I've got too many charts open. Quite possibly I did choose the wrong one. Raise you all. Thank you. Great filibuster. Morning. I am stressing the US dollar CAD at 12.30. You are stressing it? Why are you stressing the US dollar CAD? What's the matter with the US dollar CAD? US dollar CAD's gone nowhere, basically. That's a hell of a contraction, isn't it? All right. So we've just broken out to the upside on the US dollar CAD this morning. This is US dollar strength we've got coming through. So that we have got a very strong yen today. Look, US dollar yen isn't moving. All the other US dollars are. Euro US dollar will be coming down and pound US dollar is coming down. So this is strength in the US we have at the minute coming through. So US dollar CAD is the buy of the century at the moment. Has been the buy. This has been a buy for months, this thing. Strong COT, strong fundamentals. It's been a buy all the way. However, as you can see, it's just been going sideways. So fundamentally, it's a long, but the market's got to the point now where it's just not interested in the US anymore. It's got no faith left, I don't think. So that's what I mean. Every piece of negative news, we've had this before, every piece of negative news you get on the US is a big drop. Every piece of positive news you get, they might pump it a little bit. But they're much more interested in shorting it than longing it. So I don't know, which way are you on this? I'm flat on this at the moment on H1M5. All the shorts were out there. Longs are out there. Shorts are out there. Flat. It's a big old symmetrical triangle break at the moment. In fact, let's put the symmetrical triangle pattern indicator on. See if it is an official symmetrical triangle. Yes. So that's a break to the upside. That is actually a bearish symmetrical triangle, but it actually broke to the upside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off. But it's not really off, is it? It's crap. So yeah, nothing on the US dollar CAD either. Could go anywhere today. Absolutely anywhere. That 3 days sideways, just waiting for some movement. So upside target is 100 ADR, downside target is 100 ADR. That propulsion gap to the downside, and obviously last week's high. That is also the previous week's high as well. So we double topped on the weeklies. Look. Actually, well, it's Friday, isn't it, basically? So that Friday was last week's high. That Monday last week was, Monday last week was last week's high. Friday last week was the previous week's high. So that double top acts as resistance. Failing that, you're coming back up to 200 ADR and then the monthly high up there. So you've got 2 levels up there to aim for. North, if you're going south, I'll be looking at ADR and then last week's low. You've got multiple lows here, haven't you? Look, down at those levels. So you're bang in the middle of 2 potential target zones. Just no point in taking it. If you're going to take a trade, you want to wait for the market to be extended. Right here, you've got a 50-50 shot, long or short. Speaking of 50-50 shots, oil. Now we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12 days roughly sideways. 2 weeks, nearly 3 weeks, not going anywhere. This is totally stuck oil. This is what we were looking at for being the low to rally to make the new high. It's just not interested. Even the barrel counts are not making any difference to this at all. So just stuck sideways at the moment on oil. Really would like to see this rally, but I'm not going to get involved in it at the moment. I'm just going to sit and wait. But at the minute, it's just stuck. So I don't really think there's any reason not to take longs on it. There's no reason really to get in short on it, but you're going to be sitting in it. So don't tie up too much liquidity in this. If I was you, just wait. Downside and upside. And we are there again. One of those things, if you're going to take a trade, wait for a trade to be at a level that makes logical sense, not bang in the middle of nowhere where there's a 50-50 shot. So nothing new there. Nobody's asked for it. I'm going to do it anyway because nobody's asked for it. So at the moment, this is potentially a really good long. Technically, we've got this monthly low. We've got last week's low. We've got the previous day's low, which we are approaching now. And this is also ADR. So this whole zone here has got multiple reasons for a bounce. 2:30 this afternoon or 2:45 this afternoon, we've got potential negative news for the US dollar, meaning it will drop and everything will rally against the US dollar. Being a US dollar cross, gold will be one of those things that rallies. So this is in a really good spot if we're going to maintain this range. This is the range low buy to trade back up to somewhere higher up in the range. So it's a really good looking long opportunity where we are at the minute. So if you fancy a long on gold, it's just a case of waiting for some kind of signal. M5 reverse alert is going to be there at the moment. Obviously, if we are expecting it to push down into these levels, obviously getting down to there, you're going to get then the reverse alert triggering there. So really good looking opportunity for longs on gold at the moment. It's not extended in any way, shape or form. It's purely a technical buy, and it's a technical buy also off the 72 moving average. Yeah, we can see it's bullish. This is exactly what the area we'd like to start buying if we're going to trade long-term moves as well. So really good looking opportunity on gold. Right, 848. DAX is absolutely not interested at all today. Whip, 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 going absolutely nowhere. Surge traders, I'm still in it. I'm cheating, but hey, what the hell? Everyone else seems to be cheating, so why not me too? Let's go another one long up there, shall we? Hey, if I don't get caught, I don't get caught. I've already broken the rules, so I might as well just go for it, haven't I? I'm going to put a stupid stop loss on this as well, which is going to be well beyond breaking point for the account. But what the hell? Let's just hope we get a rally, eh? Okay, anybody got anything else they want to cover? Oh yeah, results. So the new EA that well, it's not a new EA, it's a new variation on the opening range breakout strategy that I was testing. So I did a load of testing on it yesterday. For those that weren't here yesterday when I was talking about it, it's basically the opening range breakout strategy. Let me run it actually, and then you can see what it does. I'll run it on 3. So basically what this does is it's a variation on the opening range breakout strategy. US 30 we'll look at this afternoon in the New York session. There's no point in looking at it now. Sorry, bear with me one second. Some news just coming. We now expect 25 basis point rate hike in June, July, and September, taking the ECP's deposit forecast to 4%. HSBC forecasting 3 increases for the ECB. %. It's already on 3.75. I don't know where it gets. I don't know where it does its maths, but 0.75% increase is 0.75. 0.75 plus 0.75 is 0.5, which brings that to 4.5, not 4. I don't think their maths is quite right there. So again, more bullish euro, 4.5 increase. Yeah, good. So basically what this does is it's exactly the same as the opening range breakout strategy. But what we're doing is we are literally just using the 5-minute pre-market, which is there. And it basically places a pending order above the high, pending order of the low, exactly the same as the normal ORB strategy, except we're taking this first 5-minute candle and we're looking for a momentum play on this first 5-minute candle to hit a target. Yeah. So what it does is if it hits target, as you can see, as soon as it triggers a short, it cancels that pending off. So this is the main difference in the strategy. Instead of having a straddle order, what it does is when it triggers an order, it cancels the opposite pending, which will become clear as to why in a minute. Okay, target hit. That's it. Done for the day. So unlike the opening range breakout strategy or the opening range breakout EA, you have the option to continue trading now and get on with more opening range breakouts on different timeframes. This is literally just playing this one here. If it hits target, it's done. That's it. Well done. You made money this morning. End of story. Move on to the next. So we move on to the next day. Okay. And what we've done here is we triggered long. Yeah. It pushed down and it stopped out. So what it does immediately is it flips short. So rather than waiting for a break here, what it does is it immediately goes short. So we're saying, right, if we did not get the break to the upside of that candle, we go short. Now, the reason this triggers immediately on a short is because you can use a trailing stop to trail up. And what it'll mean is if your initial trade doesn't work and it starts to pull back on that initial push, your trailing stop triggers and it immediately flips you short much higher up. So if we are going to break to the downside and go for a double-ended stop run, your trailing stop triggers your short entry above the opening range break high. This one isn't using a trailing stop, this particular one that I've got on here. But as you can see, what it's done is it's flipped short. Stop is the other end. And then it will trade that one short. And I think this is one which whipsaws, which is a good example. Right. So that also failed. So it stopped out and immediately flips long again. Okay, so what it's going to do is if we are not going to get an initial cash balance that starts a decent move, it will wait and it will make sure that you are on that decent move when it kicks in. Okay, so another stop out, another stop out, another stop out. That one was a TP. Yep, so that was the winning trade. So that is a 3R. So the basis, or rather the edge in strategy is the days where you get multiple stop outs like this, you are going to make a loss. Same as any strategy. There's no breakout rate strategy in the world that makes money in a range. However, on the 5-minute pre-market, the testing I've done, what I've shown in the results, there are way less of those whipsaws in that 5-minute because that initial cash balance candle is very, very often at least 1.5 hour, if not more, as we've seen over the last couple of days. Obviously, you could have held this for a 10 to 1 if you wanted to, but so you'll see, obviously, you'll get this every now and again, you'll get these big dips, but these big dips basically are rare. And that's one of the reasons I've got this particular date that I'm testing from March, because that's what I'm working on trying to mitigate, which I don't think there's a way to do it. But so wait for the next one. So there's a short trigger. Stopped out, immediately flipped long, TP. Yeah. So those are the ones where you get the false breakout and it goes. So what we tend to see is one of two things happening the vast majority of the time on the pre-5-minute opening range break. We see a break, an immediate run. So that candle that breaks is the one we go with. Yeah. Or it's a false move and then we break back the other way and we rally back the other way. So in the case of that, which is what's happened today, you're getting in short and you're immediately getting in long the opposite direction. So what your P&L looks like on these days is 1 loss, 1 win. The 1 win is 3 times, well, again, we've got the results on this, but 1.5, 2, 3 plus times your initial loss. And the vast majority of the days, you either get the break TP straight away or the false break re-entry TP. Sometimes you get 3 or 4 And on the ones you get 3 or 4, you make either a break even or a very small loss. So it's got a really good edge to the strategy. I've backtested lots of different variations of it. And obviously you can get runners. You can get massive runners as well, obviously. So, you know, you can play it like with any strategy. You can play it any way you like. But the edge, as you can see, plays out very nicely. These are the ones you get. That's a losing day. Yeah, so that one there is a losing day. That one there is a losing day. Winning days. Winning days. Break-even-ish day. That was pretty much a break-even day there. Yeah, but most of the days are winners. Yeah. So I've done all the back testing. I've only done it over a year so far. Again, I haven't done any out of sample testing. This is purely just first year tick level testing. So I've run three tests. They're quite small tests, but they're at tick level, so they're 100% accurate. So the first one was testing TP levels, whether or not it's worth using a trailer. If it is worth using a trailer, what size trailer? Ranging from 110 to 210% of the pre-market 5-minute opening range. And again, this is only testing the 5-minute. I haven't tested the 15 yet. So as you can see, return on drawdown is somewhere between 3 to 1.5 in the top area. There were 36 system parameter tests run, all 36 passed profitable. So then I ran a second test, which was testing pretty much the same thing. However, it was testing different TP levels, always using a trailer, but the trailers ranged from 100 to 200, whereas I was previously testing 110 to 210. So the idea of the first test was I want my initial stop loss to be lower than the opening range break to the downside, so giving us that double bottom. This one tests a stop on exactly that level, so we flip short immediately when it breaks the low of the 5-minute if we're going to get a false breakout. 2.28, 1.59. Again, there was 54 tests run, all 54 profitable. So 100% strike rate profitability-wise. Yeah, so it didn't lose money in the year, which is fine. So that is not as good as previous results. Yeah. So it just shows you how often you get those double bottoms, which is quite often, which is what I keep saying. This is why we have a pending offset on the opening range breakout EA, because when you get that initial candle go in, quite often it will retest the high of it and it will double top or double bottom. So if you need to be triggering your orders outside and triggering your stops ideally outside, which is what all the ORB set files do. So the final test that I did yesterday was not using a stop loss at all, a trailing stop loss. So removing the trailer from it, which is what you've just seen running there. As you can see, this runs from 3s down to sort of 1.5s. So 1.5 return on drawdown to 3 return on drawdown. Again, ran 18 permutation tests, all 18 profitable. So it does not lose money. But the difference being is the minimum earnings on this one are about 25 to 30 grand. On the other two, as you'll see, you've got like 4s, 5s, 1s, 14s, etc. So the trailing stop, and again, this is 100% utter proof of what I keep going on about every single day in here. Trailing stops make you make less money. In fact, I've just proven it with this spreadsheet and this analysis. Yeah, this does not use a trailing stop. This basically says, place your orders, get in there. If it doesn't get your profit, go the other way, but do not trail your stop, because what happens is price pushes up, pulls back, then it pushes up and it goes to your target. However, your trailing stop got you out with a loss when you would have actually made a load of money. That's what trailing stops do. They're a stop loss. They stop loss and they also stop profit. So the profitability on this one obviously is as good. However, the profit made is much, much, much higher. So it shows and it proves that 1.5R to 3R is where you are going to get the highest strike rate and the most decent profitability out of it with the lowest drawdown. However, if you move your TPs up and start looking in the 5s and plus zone, i.e. going for those runners, your profitability jumps up to 70 grand, 80 grand. Yeah. So I've got more tests I'm going to run on this today. But it seems to be more of a profitable strategy than the opening range breakout strategy. However, it will experience more drawdown. So for prop, and that's the reason I wanted to show the backtest results this morning, right? So think prop, right? When you take a prop evaluation, whether your system or strategy passes or fails, and this is all based on 0.5% risk, yeah, not anything more. So this is super small risks. If we increase the risks, we are going to increase our profitability exponentially. What I'm looking for is a strategy that will generate high reward quickly. So look at the profit curve here on this time, from there all the way up to there. So we're running from around about 10,600 to 11,600. That's 10K using 0.5% risk, okay? Over a period of, what's that, 30 to 60 trades. So 30 trades, I don't know, probably, I don't know, time-wise, how long that's going to be. So what's that from trade 33? So that is from the 9th of March to the 17th of March. So roughly a week and a bit. Yeah, 1 and a bit week. So in 1 and a bit weeks, it produced 10 grand in profit. So that's a prop evaluation pass on a 100K account with 0.5% risk, virtually no drawdown whatsoever. If you can get that passed, right, and then you can run that on a live account, you can draw 10K out. Real easy, yeah. If it's going to have a losing run, a losing day, yeah, it's going to draw down, but it's not going to draw down massively. It's going to draw down a bit. So your evaluation or your time to get to 10K, this is kind of what I'm looking at, right? Time to get to 10K. If I spend $500 on a 100 grand evaluation, I'm interested in not necessarily with prop, a long-term hold and make that account grow, that sort of thing. I'm looking for how quickly can I grab 10K out of this thing, put it in the bank and pay my bills, pay my mortgage, buy the holidays, etc., etc. I'm not interested in blowing accounts. It's part of the course. You're going to blow accounts, always going to blow accounts in prop because you've got 5% max daily drawdown to work with. The EA has got that built in. So it will, if it gets to 4.5K, it shuts everything and goes, I'll try again tomorrow. And it will just get in again tomorrow. So I'm interested in speed to get to 10K. How many times a year can I get an account from a point 10 grand higher so that I can stop trading it and withdraw the money and then start the thing up again and hope that it can do the same thing? And this is using 0.5% risk to do that. So if we then go back and go in and do the same test again, but we increase our risk to 1% on these trades. And again, this is taking one entry. Yeah. And again, I'll explain in a second another variation of this, which I think is probably going to be incredibly powerful. So this is now risking 1%. So we'll look at that same period of time. We're going to get that big drawdown on 1%. So we're going to move from 10,300 down to 97,000. Yeah. So that is not an account blow. That's 4%. Now look at the run up. We're sitting on 11,500, 11,700. And this is where we start our run, right? So we're going from 11,700 to 26 grand, 28 grand. So max run up was 28 grand there. Still going at the moment, but we're stagnating at the moment. So you see the stagnation periods as well with the strategy. It stagnates for a while, but what it doesn't do is necessarily blow the account. It just stagnates on the account. So that was a 28 grand run up in 9 days. So from an evaluation perspective, if you're going to do evaluations on prop, if you're using a 1% risk, a higher risk than normal, you're going to pass those evaluations in 5 days very, very quickly and very, very easily with the strategy when it has a nice run. And remember, I am using a 3R here. The days we've got those 7 Rs, 1% risk, you're passing in a day. Okay, so for evaluation passing purposes, you could run one of these higher risk strategies where you are returning, for example, here, 83 grand. Yes, the return on drawdown is smaller and the return is much, much larger. But using a 7 to 8R, if you were to do 5 evaluations with a 7 to 8R and start them on different days, you've only got to have 1 day and making 7R, and that's a 7% return on your account. The next day, you drop it down and you take the 1.5R, and then you're passed. So in 2 days, you'll pass evaluation using the higher reward, higher risk strategies. So you can tune it so that you can have 2 different modes. One for evaluation, where you go in high risk, high reward, and you can pick a balance, really, if you want in there as well. And probably actually using one of the stop loss trailing variations. Just trying to see what gives you the highest return. See, these just don't give you the high returns. This is the thing, stop losses stop you out. They stop you making money. It's the best one. That's 1.5. So yeah, the non-trailing versions. So using these for evaluation and then switching over as soon as you've passed evaluation, you drop your risk down to 0.5%. You drop your target down to somewhere between 1.5 to 3, or you could leave it as if you want to and hope that you get the big hit. You know, a 7% return on one trade is 7%. 7% on a 100K account is 7 grand. One trade, stop trading. 9 days later, press the withdraw button, then start the EA up again. Just made 7 grand. You just spent 500. So that's what I'm looking for this to be. I'm evaluating it basically, and this is why I'm doing all this testing, to find out what is the best way to trade evaluation and what is the best way to trade funded with it. So, but it is a very high risk strategy. The pre-market 5, as you saw today, yeah, and you've got to pick your days, right? When there's news, that's what we get. We know this. We've seen it 100 times. This afternoon on the NASDAQ and the Dow. Probably going to do that for 15 minutes because we've got news coming out. So use your head. Don't trade that. Wait and trade the 5-minute candle before the news. So you would trade in this afternoon, you would trade the 240 to 245 range. Yeah. So that is going to be your opening range, your 5-minute pre-market, if you like, because that's when the news hits. That's when you're going to get the move. So you would bracket it at that time period. And again, none of this testing is taking into account clock changes. A lot of those drawdowns you're seeing, they're going to be because the time zones are wrong as well. I haven't done any testing yet on the NASDAQ or the Dow. But obviously, this is just the DAX. Add in the Dow and the NASDAQ into the equation as well. That's 3 times the profit potentially in a day. So I'm going to do all the testing on that as well. That's today's job, is to run all these tests again and rerun them on the NASDAQ and the Dow just to validate the strategy across the US indices as well. So it looks really good. But obviously, this is just initial testing done yesterday. I've got to out of sample test it. I might out of sample test it and it completely falls flat on its face. If it does, it does. But from what we've seen in the market, we've been watching this thing every day for the last 6-8 months. That pre-market opening range break does seem very, very good. And those big ones you get. So the other thing I was going to say was, obviously, this is running one variation. Yeah. So on the days where you get chopped, you're going to get chopped, regardless of whether you're targeting 1.5, 7R, 20R, whatever you're targeting, you're going to get chopped. The days where it does the big runs, if you run two variations of the strategy, so you have 0.5% risk running on a 1.5R or a 3R, which are the most stable. You can also run 0.5% risk running a 5R or a 7R. And this one, when this one hits target, you move this one to break even and hope that you get that run. Yeah. So you can get the best of both worlds. So when you're looking at the returns, these ones here, which return the big numbers, the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, all of those are returning 50K plus in 12 months. Those were all targeting 7R to 10R, something like that. Yeah. So you have 0.5% running on that set file, 0.5% running on that set file. This is going to be your bread and butter past your evaluations. This one is going to pay your mortgage for the year when you get a run. Seriously. Yeah, running this set file is going to return you somewhere between 5 to 10,000 on a 100K account in one trade. You know, so it's a case of, and obviously the risk is always only ever going to be $500. That's your risk, 0.5%. So there's really, really good potential in this. But as I say, I need to develop it further. I need to backtest it further. I need to multi-time frame backtest it as well. So I want to test it on the 15-minute and the 10-minute pre-market ranges to see if there's an edge on the 15 or the 10. And I'd like to, if possible, try and filter out the clock changes. So I want to go back and look over the last 3 years as to when the clocks changed. That's really only going to affect me from the US indices perspective. But obviously we have that hour shift. So I want to filter those results out. So I want to run multiple tests over a period of a year where I'm running, when I know the clocks are right, then I need to change the times, run that period, then change the times back, run the next period. So I've got 3 sets of data that are running on accurate times, because obviously the opening range break is a different time on the broker, depending when the clocks change. So I want to run that filter test as well. Just so I've got 100% accurate results, because I want to be sure on it. So anyway, so there you go. So that's what I've been up to. It's a totally different method of getting in, so it doesn't work with the existing opening range breakout strategy. It's going to be very difficult to incorporate it from a code perspective as well. So I will see what I'm going to do with it. Obviously, we've got to validate it works first, because at the moment it's just a pipe dream, but it's looking like a profitable one. So as I say, I don't release anything that's crap that doesn't work, because I only release stuff that I use myself. So we will see. Please, sir, when you're done, may you just go back to UJ for confirmation of that 1 hour breaker. There you go. That's the 1 hour UJ chart. Potgeiter, see you all in 2 hours. Power outage. Oh dear. It's not going to be long before it's like that in the UK. It keeps going up this much. The cost of living, I mean. Music trends. EU and GU. Done those. Replay. EU and GU sideways. No advantage anywhere. Today, either that or that at 245, depending on what the news is for the US dollar. This one at 9:30 in 15 minutes, you've got the pound news coming out. So this one is a beautiful double bottom at the minute. So we had a double bottom and a retest of that last week's low double bottom. So if we get positive figures on the PMIs, last week's high is 175 ADR. This propulsion gap high is 200 to 225 ADR. So if we get positive PMIs for the pound, which drives us up to ADR and fills these propulsion gaps, and then we get negative US dollar PMIs this afternoon, you could be up there this afternoon. However, obviously you might get negative PMIs for the pound and positive PMIs for the US, which means you'll be somewhere down here. Again, ADR. Okay, that's all I've got for you this morning. It's 9:15. Be aware of the news at half past for the US. We'll be back at 2:20 this afternoon. for the US session. And again, the opening range breaks, regardless, are hit and miss when you've got news. So I would suspect we're probably going to have a whipsaw. So probably best not to trade the opening range breakout before the 15-minute today, this afternoon, as we saw what happened with the DAX this morning. Just a whippy mess. So I'll be back at 2:20, and obviously we'll trade the open on the NASDAQ and the Dow, and we'll have a look at FX and see what impact these news events today have had. But so far, dead. Nothing's moving, is it? So ADRs are still flat. RSIs are still flat. So we're just waiting for some setups. Just having to wait, which is quite nice because all it means is I can spend lots of time researching how to make more money. Right, I'll be back this afternoon, 2:20. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be in Telegram, and see you guys this afternoon. If not, 7:50, same time tomorrow. Have a good day.